Jeremy!
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Another day, another dollar.
Hey, it's episode 6.
This is episode 6. I think this is going to be our best one.
It's the week after the St. Patrick's Day episode.
It is, and we had a lot of views on that one too.
Well, I mean, yes.
They said it was the luck of the Irish.
It was well worth watching too, and if you missed it, go back and watch it because it's super educational.
It is, yeah, it very much is. And actually, we got a lot of good questions from the last one, which was pretty cool. But actually, back to the luck of the Irish. Have you watched that movie? Remember the Disney Channel one from like years and years ago?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that's just me. Well, I watched it the other day on my little Fire Stick thing, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was.
No,
it's weird.
I don't know if I mentioned the other day, like that I've gone back and watched like old episodes of Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
And I thought those shows were so amazing when I was a kid, and I watch them now and I'm like,
whoa,
this is so bad.
What do they call it?
It's
like
so bad.
The Mandela effect or something like that. One of those things where it's like totally different.
Okay, so before we get into this week's Martini, which is yours, so we're going to have you explain it.
Yes.
Did you have the baby yet?
No baby yet. No baby yet, but it is this Sunday is the due date. So it'll be really interesting to see if she comes on time or not. It was actually kind of funny, though. Madison's grandpa, he's a doctor. He used to deliver babies. And we were talking to him on the phone. We're like, so what do you think? And he's like, well, we classify babies or births in 3 ways. Either they're early births, on time, or late. And now you can say that it's not early. So
there you go.
Okay, there you go.
We're either going to be on time or late.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of them's already gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think? How big do you think? How big?
It's going to be, well, she's really hoping for a smaller baby.
Yeah, well, I can understand that.
I totally understand why.
Yep.
I think so. I mean, I'm not a tall dude, so I'm thinking it's going to be.
How much were you?
I don't know.
I was 12 pounds.
Oh, my God. Are you serious? Oh my
God. I'm pretty sure she does not want that.
No, she does
not want that.
Not at all.
Not up in here.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Holy, wow. Praise to your mother.
Well, we're going to, I mean, I'm excited. I hope that I really do hope it happens this weekend. And if it does, we may not have an episode next week.
Or we might have the baby on.
You might need to, we might do it live.
Yes.
We might do it live in episode 7.
Baby screaming in the background and everything.
Or, I mean, you may need to get out of the house for a little bit.
True.
So we may need to do it anyway.
True, yeah. So this actually could be a good excuse.
Okay, tell us what you made, what we've got this week.
Okay, so this week we have well, it's technically a London fog, but we're going to call it the Tacoma fog. So what we have here is I brewed some Earl Grey tea. It's basically exactly like a London fog, we just add vodka to it. But you do brewed Earl Grey tea, been brewing it for like 6 hours. Then you add some simple syrup. This is a craft simple syrup, non-GMO. Then you add your vodka. I went with a totally different vodka this time. I went with the Fair vodka, quinoa vodka. So it'll be very interesting to see how this tastes. But it does say think human, drink fair, and I'm hoping it's telling me that I'm allowed to drink a fair amount.
You got it.
You like that?
Yeah.
And a little lemon. So that's what we got here. That's what we're working with, and
so,
I guess we'll see.
So I'm gonna quinoa.
Is it quinoa? Right?
I don't know, but isn't that like a kind of rice or something?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a rice vodka?
I guess so. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. It also is it's vegan.
What do we got here on the rim?
Got some sugar on the rim. It did call for egg whites, like a little foam, but not really our jam. So we said, you know what, we're gonna make it cute. We're gonna add a little sugar on top, and we'll see how it tastes.
Let's go.
All right.
Here we go. This is always the most exciting time. Cheers.
Cheers. Don't want to get the sugar off there. That's actually pretty good. Wow.
I choked on the granules of sugar.
I don't think I'll do the sugar again.
No, so I need to actually take a sip because I was trying not to cough all over the microphone when I was taking a sip there. All right.
It almost tastes to me like iced tea, like a Lipton iced tea.
It tastes exactly like iced tea.
That's really dangerous.
That would be amazing in the summertime.
Yes.
But it would be very dangerous.
Yeah, because technically there's 2 shots in each of those.
It's
That's,
okay.
That's wow. That's now we go into the.
That is good. They've all been so different.
Well, that's the hard part. Like when we're talking about ratings,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we compare them to the other ones. I think we just rate them out of like a good drink. Like if we're at a bar and someone made us one of these, what our rating is of it.
So we're changing the rules 6 weeks in.
I think so. I think
Because we've been comparing them to each other, but now we're just saying, you know what, those rules are out, and we're just going to do something new.
I think we kind of have to.
Okay. Because it is, you can't really classify the dessert ones the same as ones you would just drink on a Friday night.
Not at all. Yeah.
This one, I think, I've said like one of them I thought I would hand out, or I wouldn't hand it out, I'd be drinking it while I had trick-or-treaters.
Yep.
This would be the opposite. This would be, I would be drinking this while I'm sitting on a boat.
Yeah.
In the sun. This one is delicious.
It's funny because when I thought of it, I was like, oh, this would be a nice one for like a cloudy day like it is right now. Mm-hmm. But now that I've just had it, I think I would actually have it on a sunny day.
So what's the olive? Do you put anything in this?
Olives?
Oh, like anything?
Well, you're supposed to do the foam.
Oh, that's like the olive?
That's like the olive.
I'm not on that.
Yeah. We'll still call it
the olive. So what's your olive rating on this one?
I'd go an 8.
I'd also go 8.
Yeah, I think 8's a solid number on that one.
I mean, it's very good. I mean, it's we have not found a 9 yet.
No.
But I think we're both like reserved, like because we don't want to go too high, because then if like we get with the next one tops it, it's like, well, now what do we do?
Yeah.
So we're keeping it at 8.
Yeah, a good neutral number. We also could too, like later on. I think that's where we can like redo some of these drinks and have someone else on there and see, okay, now where do you rate this drink? Yeah,
well, we'll probably it'll be like when we take a break for when the season's up, like sitcoms.
Yeah.
Then we'll get guests out here and they'll have to try them all.
Yes,
at one time.
And then they have to give a speech right afterwards.
And they have to finish like a full drink, not just a sip. We really want to get the full effect of how that's going to go.
Definitely need to order them an Uber.
Yes, no, that's included.
Wow, I need another sip of this before we continue on.
I mean, it's I think we had 65 degrees earlier in the week. We had 65 degrees when we did this last week.
Yeah.
And today it's like 40.
Yeah. But that's damn good.
It really is good. Yeah, wow. I like that.
Well, should we go into,
what do we got going this week?
So we have a question, and then we're also going to kind of go over some stats because that was part 2 of the question. So let's kind of dive into what's going on in the market right now. I think that'd be good to kind of tell people real live stuff. So where are we at with the interest rates? Right, everyone was worried about Wednesday. What was going to happen? And then I'll kind of go into some market stats, just give people numbers because everyone's saying, "Oh man, still it's the doom and gloom," and reality is it's not. So
yeah, it's interesting. So the Fed announced on Wednesday that they were going to increase the federal funds rate by a quarter, and it's always interesting because people have a hard time understanding what really that means.
Yeah.
And when I hear a lot of people, they say, "Hey, so that's too bad that they actually continued raising." Well, in this case, we were kind of hoping they would say, hey, it's neutral, we're not going to raise. That was wishful thinking. We really didn't expect that. But they did change some of their wording.
Okay.
Instead of, hey, this is like what we see for the foreseeable future. It's, we're going to, I can't remember the exact word, but it was like, we're going to increase with caution or something. So it's
slowly do it.
Yeah. So it's now, well, I think what they also said is there's no guarantee they'll raise again.
Oh,
just based on the words. They probably will, but the wording now is such that they could stop. Okay. And what has happened, just even based on those words, the Treasury yields have come down. I think they closed today around a 337, opened around a 341. So it wasn't a huge drop today, but they have dropped since Wednesday. And so a lot of people would think, oh, rates are continuing to go up. The opposite happened. Rates have eased a little bit, and that's good news. Good. So the rates are... Hopefully we can continue this. It's not really a trajectory. It's like a non-rectory. I don't know about the opposite. Yeah, what's the opposite of a trajectory?
It's going a little slightly down.
Yeah, hopefully instead of this, we're doing this. I don't have the wording for that. I apologize.
Let us know if you know the wording.
Tell us the opposite of trajectory, please. But overall, I think, well, we could have hoped for a little better. This is about as good as we could have hoped. There's still so much uncertainty with some of these banks. We've got a lot of things going on, but at least hopefully we're slowly going to start getting to the downside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I regularly check mortgage news daily. That's kind of what I use, just in my back pocket phone app type thing. And it looks like rates actually went to a positive side. So that's good. I mean, I think everyone is scared. Oh, they're raising it, so now all the interest rates are going to raise. And I think kind of like what you're saying is it's slowly creeping down and going into a positive sense.
Yeah, and one more thing I just want to on the rates is it's just be careful anything you're seeing online, about people's rates or this or that, because you have to look at the fine print.
Yep.
You have to know the credit score. You have to know the debt to income ratio. You have to know what the loan to value is. You have to know what the loan program is. There's so many factors that if you just say, hey, the rate is X, we don't really even know, it means nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to know what you're talking about.
I mean, to kind of tap on that real quick is I'm not going to say who this company was, but there was a company where I advised my buyer, hey, maybe shop around just to be safe. But they're like, this is the best rate. Come to find out at the end, there was a huge buy down they had to do, and they didn't know about it. So that was kind of something that wasn't disclosed to them. So I think that's kind of a big thing is when you're saying read the fine print.
Yeah.
Is not the best thing is not always the best thing. You really need to look at everything and trust who you're talking with.
And one of the things, I would say, from being in the business so long, probably my biggest pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve is, unfortunately, there's people in this industry who simply don't tell you the full truth.
Yeah.
Whether that's, hey, the rate's this, they conveniently forget about the discount points, the origination fee, whatever it is. There's a lot of great people in this industry. It's a small portion, but when that happens to people, it's too late.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times they're sitting there, they haven't paid attention to their disclosures. They're at the closing table and then they finally notice it. And at that point, if they want to get into the house at that point, they kind of are stuck.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing that. So,
oh my God, no,
so it's important that you know that up front. Make sure you know what you're signing in, what your interest rate truly is. And, from your standpoint, from a real estate agent standpoint, I'm going to be honest, there are places that have lower rates than I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of times they are, a call center in Nebraska or wherever they may be. And when you're out with a client and you need a letter at 9:00 on a Saturday night,
who am I calling? They're not there.
They're not there.
Yeah.
And so that's where that can be a challenge. And so, as we talked about last week, in terms of, the team up approach,
yeah,
it's so important because that's that whole thing. It's like we're trying to do this together. And if you need something late at night, if you need something on a weekend, if you need, whatever the case may be, you got to make sure that person's going to be there. And so that's my soapbox.
Well, no, that's going to tie into our next part, which is, going to the question, but just real quick, some market stats. And I think this is good to see. So, every agent does different things, right? I like to look at the market stats daily. I do single family condos and all of Pierce County and King County. I work other places, but those are my, bread and butter type places where I like to look at. And so just quick stats Friday right now at in the afternoon is we have, I have a question for you. Do you think there's more listings active versus pendings right now? Because everyone's, talking about that homes are going down right now, right? So
more listings than pendings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would think so.
You think there's more active than pendings, right? That's
active listings than pendings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's false. So right now there is 851 new listings. So that's new homes right now on the market that are active.
This week?
This is the last 7 days. So it's right now currently where they're at. So if something goes pending within a 30 minute, then obviously that's going to change. So this is just current data. Listings pending is a little over 1,100. That's quite a bit of an increase. And solds are right at 700. So that's pretty good. That's really good. A lot of people are saying there's more active listings than sold. Well, when you actually look at the data, there's not.
Folks, we have such a shortage of housing.
Yeah.
Such a shortage. And I see it on the media. Make sure you choose your media wisely. It's very important. It sells papers, right? It sells papers. It gets viewers when you talk about, oh my gosh, we're going to have a correction. Just make sure you're looking at statistics. Because it shows you everything that I see every week now, everything that's going up, if it's priced right, it's selling in like a couple days.
Yeah. And
with multiple offers and with waiving inspections, everything that was happening a year ago, it's happening.
Yeah. It's just not to the extreme that it was before. Like, there's now 5 versus 25. So I think, that's what you have to understand. But that leads us to now kind of our next question is, so they asked us, how can I submit my best offer on a home? I feel like that's a very broad question. So I think we should just dissect a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go into all the nitty gritty of a contract. That's where you need to have your agent, your lender, and work with them. But what I would say before we even go into that part is you need to have a good team. You need to have a good team. You need to have a good lender who has underwritten you or went through your file with a fine tooth comb to make sure that you actually are approved this home, knowing your budget.
Yeah.
Have an agent who can vouch for you, because that's huge. When you're submitting your offer, is they're able to talk to that listing agent and say why your offer is the best. I would say that's like your base you need to start with, right?
Well, and I think the other thing is to do a little bit of homework on your own. I mean, you can find a mortgage calculator.
Yep.
And, what we see a lot is, I think I've mentioned this before. It's like what you qualify for and what you feel comfortable with are a lot of times two different things.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But if what you're hoping for is a $750,000 house with a $1,200 payment, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to put down $650,000. I mean, that might work then.
Yeah.
But it's not realistic. So you've got to be realistic about what you truly can afford. And I will tell you, in this market around here, trying to get into a house with a payment less than $2,500 is difficult.
Yeah, I think it all depends on kind of what you're looking at. If you're looking at what type of home, a condo or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that's good when you have those realistic expectations and those conversations with your team. Because if you don't have those in the beginning, that's where we talked about too, sticker shock. But for an example is, you can buy that starter home, right? So you can buy that home to where, maybe it's a little slightly more than you're comfortable paying, or your lease that you're paying right now. But it's that home that's going to build you equity. That home that's you're able to rent out later on, or that home you can sell, take the equity, and go buy the bigger home that you want. You don't need to go buy that big home right now.
No.
You just need to start somewhere, right?
Well, and that just brought up something else. That when somebody's approved, let's say they're approved for $500,000, and they're looking at homes, and then all of a sudden they decide at the last minute, hey, actually, I want to look at a condo.
Yeah.
That's where this whole team thing really comes into play, because they may be right up against the wall of, hey, they're at their ceiling. They can get approved for $500,000.
Yeah.
So you find a condo for $495, and that condo has $800 a month HOA dues.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
No.
And so you have to know those things going into, it's important to know. Obviously, there's a big difference between houses, condos, et cetera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I think, kind of going back to the question. So it's first is having your team. Second is having those discussions. Third is, talking to your team and making sure that this home is right for you, because that's going to lead us to now your final question is, how do you submit the best offer? So it's finding what you're most comfortable with. We're not going to go into, like I said, all the different contingencies that you can do and to make your offer the best. But I think it's having that conversation of, okay, where is my max budget? I don't need to go that right away, but where is my max budget? So I know, what am I comfortable doing? So that way I can put my best offer first and then have that negotiation. But it really also comes down, like I said, to your team kind of full circle, is because of this, what I'm going to kind of go over. So Todd, let's say you are the listing agent.
Okay.
Right. So I'm the buyer's agent and I'm with my buyer. I'm gonna do buyer A. So buyer A says, "Hey, Todd," calls you on the phone. "Hey, Todd, I'm gonna be touring your property on 123 Main Lane. Really seems like a beautiful property. How's the activity been? Kind of get to know you. I'm gonna tell you about my clients. We're gonna tour, right? And then I call you back afterwards. I say, "Hey, we really like it. Follow up. Now the lender will say." Well, you can't be the lender and this listing agent, but now the lender calls you and now tells you everything about your client, right? That's client A. Now you have client B who tours it, agent doesn't call you, and they just submit a blind offer, lender doesn't call you. Which offer are you going to want?
I'm taking the first one.
I would 100% take the first one.
Well, again, so much of what we talk about comes down to communication.
Oh, yeah.
It really does. Communication between the lender and the agent and the buyer and the seller. Everybody has to be. Everybody has to be on board.
Yeah.
There's what? How many people does it take to buy a house, right?
Yeah.
So you've got listing agent,
Yep.
selling agent,
Yep.
buyer and seller,
Yep.
lender.
Yep.
You've got an appraiser.
Yep.
Title company.
Escrow.
That's 8.
Then you got the notary. You want to count them too? You want to count them?
I mean, okay. I mean,
Sorry,
we still
Calvin.
need you, notary. I mean, that's 9.
Yeah.
But there's probably someone else. 10. Let's go 10.
Yeah. Well, then you have, then you have your inspections if you do that and all the
Yeah.
other things. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that go into, and that's just your main fronts. You know, then you got like the behind the house people, you know, assistants and all that too. So there's a lot that goes on. So having that communication is, I feel like, is key. And a lot of times, like talking from when I'm a listing agent, sometimes, majority of times, a seller might go with a lower offer if you were communicating with them versus a higher offer.
Yeah.
For someone who doesn't communicate. I mean, that's not all the time, but it is some of the times. And I think that's where having Todd call and talk to the listing agent and vouching for the buyer, saying their job's solid, we went through everything. Those are huge things because, you know, at the end of the day, a seller wants to close.
Yeah, I mean, you think about all these moving parts and everything's trying to happen in like a 3 to 4 week time frame.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, and again, that goes back to communication and it goes back to the buyer. I mean, we work a lot with the buyers on these things, and, you know, everybody has to kind of jump through hoops.
Yep.
And Mr. Buyer, that includes you.
Yep.
I mean, it means like you're trying to buy a house and we're all trying to help you do it. And so, you know, that may mean you're going to have to take an afternoon off to sign or whatever the case may be. You know, but it's imperative that we're all on the same page. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody. It's like, hey, we're gonna need you to sign tomorrow. Oh, I'm gonna be on vacation.
Like, oh crap! You should have told me that.
Yeah, that would have been nice to know.
Yeah,
we could have made some arrangements.
Actually, I'll go with you. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
where are you headed?
Yeah.
No, it's that whole thing. I mean, I think this is that whole. As we've talked about, there's so many where people aren't talking to each other.
Yeah.
We got to get that. We got to change that.
Yeah,
changing it.
We're changing the real estate,
changing the game.
Well, I mean that's pretty good. Like I think kind of went over all the questions. And is there anything else you have?
Like when you're taking an offer, I mean, do you care? I mean, obviously it depends on the seller. But like if somebody gives you a 2-week close versus a 45-day close, obviously it depends, I guess, if they're ready to go or not.
It's totally dependent on the seller. I mean, if it's a vacant home, sellers are ready to go. They're like, you know, let's just do it. But then you have the other ones. Like, for instance, I have one coming up, and the seller is going to be gone visiting her family, and so she needs to come back, and that's where she's like, I really would like a longer close. But at the end of the day, it's whatever works best for everyone. You know? And I feel like when everyone's on the same page, going back to communicating, it really is it's what works best for everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know that I speak for myself, but I mean, one of the things in sales that they teach you early on is you have to ask for the business. Yeah. No, preach it. You got to ask for the business. You got to ask for the business. And
hopefully that sounds good when I just did that.
We haven't done that at all.
We have not, no.
So I'm going to just throw that out there. We would love to work with you. If you are interested in purchasing a home, selling a home, if you're looking to purchase, you need a lender, you need to refinance, any of those things. That's what we do. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, yeah. Or if you just want to get together and talk, we're here for that too. We'll make you a martini if you'd like.
We have no problem with that.
Not at all.
No. Because there's lots of supplies left.
Yeah, definitely lots of supplies left.
So we've got plenty. So join us for a martini. What did we decide? Changing real estate one transaction? Or
no,
one martini?
One martini at a time. Changing real estate one martini at a time.
Is that it?
That's what you said.
No, are we done?
I think we're done. Unless you have a joke. You have a joke?
No, like I feel like I didn't have enough tangents this week.
This was this might
I feel like we kind of stuck to the thing, and it's probably shorter. But
I guess we'll see.
Maybe it's not as funny. I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see what the viewers say.
Okay.
You know.
Well, then let's do it.
All right.
Well, here's to changing real estate one transaction at a time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh. It wasn't as funny, but I think it was